Why, hello there! Nice to here, bringing you a knife review. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope this brings some enjoyment further, or makes it better. I don't know, something along those lines. This is the Craig Brown Knives Cortex Mini Cortex. I've got the Cortex on the brain. I'm still thinking about that one. Mini FSD is what this knife is. These are USA made CNC customs out of Washington, the state, not DC. And yeah, this is what made me want to get the Cortex XL, even though I will say that my Cortex XL still, I'm not going to do a review on it because I'm not using it. I'm still going to send it back in because it's just, the grinds are pretty far off. And if it was just centering, it would be one thing, but it's still got its really weirdly off fuller and stuff like that. And a weird inconsistency in the action. Sometimes it's drop shut like that. Sometimes it'll just straight up start stopping, like here. And I'm still not 100% sure what that is. So I'm going to send that back in. I'm very surprised by that, and the way that one came, considering how this one came and the reputation. I'd still say you can pretty much buy from them with confidence because, yeah, this is phenomenal. This is, like, perfect. This is nothing. There's no issues here. Well, that's not true. I will get to it. There's one issue, but it developed over time. And it's super minor. I'm probably just going to send this one back in when I send the other one in and say, swap out a part or something. If you can, check it. See if you can solidify it up again. Because it came that way. Solid. Yeah. Alright, I'm rambling. Let's just get into the specs and then quick talk about this knife for the review and then call the review over because that's what we need to do here. You got 3 3/8 of blade, just shy of 7 7/8, so 7.92-ish inches in total length, and just shy of 4.5. Actually, it's probably closer to 4 3/8, so it's like 3 3/8 and 4 3/8 plus a tiny bit in the inches on the handle. Quick comparison, or however fast I can do this comparison because I ramble, so meh. Hopefully that doesn't bother anybody. And if it does, let me know. I always need information to get better and improve and stuff. So, small, Elementum, full-size Conspirator. As you can see, this is closer to the Conspirator than it is the Elementum, though I wouldn't necessarily call it a full-size knife, it's more of a medium-sized knife. But this is the Mini, the full-size one, the true FSD is even bigger. So I imagine that's decently approaching almost large-size knives. Thickness, one thing real fast. It is just a bit thinner than the old Conspirator by the looks of it. The Conspirator is 520 thousandths, so just over half an inch. My guess is this is just under half an inch. And look at that, with our new batteries in this thing, it seems to be functioning just fine. 493 thousandths, so yeah, just under. That dog, this is take 3, by the way. He's been a bug. Hopefully it's take 1 and only for you. Just under half an inch thickness. The blade stock is a respectable 150 thousandths, which is actually quite thick. However, this is hollow ground and comes down to a considerably thinner edge than a lot of knives that have 150 thousandth blade stock. Behind the edge on this knife is, I'm going to call that 12 thousandths behind the edge. Pretty darn svelte, pretty darn nice. I may need to touch it up a little bit. It didn't have a lot of bite when it came, but it's lost a little bit. But it's so thin. It just keeps going and going and going. Even though this is 154 cm. Hold on. Well, that worked. I'll be back again. Quiet. God dang it. Oh, he's tormenting me today. He's tormenting me. Where was I? I just got done... Thickness, right, yes. Oh, and I forgot, of course, with the interruptions, to say that you have more than 2 AA batteries length, in fact, about 2.5 AA batteries length of grip space, so you have just tons of grip room here. Checking hardware, it is a T8 in the pivot, and weirdly enough, this is a T9 screw. That's a kind of large T9 screw. It doesn't really... It's not tight. It's almost feels like a T10, but it's just a bit too small. And wait for the final spec that needs to be just touched upon. 4.2 ounces. Not quite an ounce an inch, but for a full titanium knife, this is pretty good, and it's not heavy at all to carry. So, now that we're done that, let's just take a quick overlook at the knife and talk about, as I said, performance. It didn't have the greatest bite, but it does have just thinness going for it, so it cuts pretty darn well. It's a drop point knife, 154 cm. The other options, oh, that's what I forgot to mention. The other options were, I think at the time when these were being done, originally there was 154 cm and 20 CV, and then Magna Cut. Now it's 154 and Magna Cut are the options that he offers. This is 154. This one came in Magna Cut, the Cortex XL. Drop point blade, nice. What the heck is that? Oh, some tape or something at the end of that blade. Good access to the tip despite having a decent amount of belly. It's far enough away from there that you can definitely get access in there. Simple drop point, but with a beautiful heavy-duty satin, belt satin on there. Kind of a heavy stonewash here. Like the handle's a reflective lighter stonewash, but there's a kind of a more muted heavy stonewash in the fuller, and the fuller runs the entire length of the blade. Well, I mean, technically it can't run there because the steel from there has been removed, but whatever. And on this one, as I said on the Cortex XL, where the fuller is a little bit janky, and the entire blade is a little bit janky, this one's perfect. This one's super even. It all lines up, it all centers out, there's no side-to-side play. It is on bearings, the plunge grind is insane, it's way back here. In fact, the stop pin, or the... I think this is... Does it actually contact there? I mean, there's internal stop pins here, but I'm not sure if they're acting as the stop pin in the closed position or the actual button is, and technically the button's hidden in front of the plunge grind. However, it's so high up that you're probably never going to get to it. Or if you do, you'll have, taken this much of the knife off, and, yeah, you'll have gotten your money's worth. So it's not a problem whatsoever on this knife. At least in my opinion. It is a front flipper with, even though this is not the good jimping, it's not tight, it's not sharp, in fact, it's kind of doing nothing. As I fail it, of course. Like, no, it's super easy. It just works. It's, even though it's very minimal, not tall at all, in fact, the entire actuation system here, you've got a flipper tab that is low profile, front flipper, but they both work. Jimping on the flipper tab is actually a little bit better. It does give a little bit of traction. And of course you have the fuller for the reverse flick. This is a very fidgety knife, in fact. It's got all the options. And I mentioned the stop pins. The way Brown's knife seems to do their stop pins is they put 2 on one side of the blade, which is interesting. I'm not sure if that's what's partially causing the weird action on this thing, occasionally that shows up, but it is an interesting way to do it. It seems to me like you'd have a better blade lock-in position if you have it on both sides, considering you'd have I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Who knows? The handles are full titanium and milled with this sort of fraggish pattern. Though, I don't know. I guess because of the curvature, the radius of the circle, I like this more than just a regular standard frag pattern. It's nice looking. It's really nice looking. Got nice reflectivity, very precise, goes right onto the clip, and despite the clip being thick and wide, has pretty good flex and good retention. So overall, the handle is super neutral, super ergonomic, tons of place to put your hands, and just nice, attractive. This is about as good as you're going to get for a titanium only knife. This is just really, really, really attractive. And he offers up sometimes he offers up some anodization options. Sometimes it's just the hardware for pops of color. That's what I got. Sometimes it's the actual full knife. Sometimes, occasionally, rarely, there's a fancy thing that pops out from the brown knife shop. This is more plain. And I honestly like it. I just kind of like having those pops of color there. Full backspacer. Nicely milled. Very well set in there. And one of the main shows, I mean, there's some weight reduction on the knife, but one of the main interesting things about this knife is that it is a button-operated, basically compression lock. Not the top liner lock that goes from the front that we've been seeing, but this actually came out before that as something that actuates similar to a compression lock. And similar to a compression lock, it wedges the actual liner in between the space in the blade to create a pretty darn strong, what should be a pretty darn strong lockup. And one thing I want to mention is, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's got like a very, like, you can push it all the way in and just, it'll be free floating. But if you just push it in enough to get it to go, it's got sort of a swooping kind of hydraulic sound to it. It's kind of addicting. It's a pleasant little, no, good lord. It's a pleasant little thing, unlike this little crappy dog out there. Where was I? Aside from being distracted by dog, which is hardly surprising at this point. Finishing up, the only thing that I wanted to say was, I mentioned it in the beginning, I believe, if I even remember at this point, because I've stopped the video several times for dog. This thing, it came perfectly solid, but over time, a tiny, tiny hint of up and down has developed. So it might just be like, over time, the liner is warped a little bit or something like that, as it's been popped in and out. So it's developed a tiny bit of up and down. I think I'm not just going to send this in for like a replacement liner when I inevitably send in this to get probably a new blade, because that thing's so wonky. Other than that, yeah, this is a great knife. It's a super expensive knife. Like, yeah, it's not the insane expensive knife. In terms of CNC customs, no. Actually, by all counts, you would actually say this is not that expensive of a knife. It is still, however, an $800 plus knife. Both of these are. They're not cheap by any means, but they are USA-made CNC customs. And once you hit the CNC and even the full custom territories where, yeah, you're not really looking at anything that's pretty much under $1,000 most of the time. So, especially when they're small batch. So, it is justifiable for the right kind of person. It's not for everybody. Most people will probably say, what the heck are you doing spending that kind of money on it? And yeah, I'm insane. I know. 100%. I'm dumber than a brick. Probably am, but I enjoy it. I like knives. It's a hobby. But it's one of the first hobbies that I found that I can, for some reason, get a decent amount of joy just in the appreciation of ownership of some of these things. And this is one of them. So, I really like the Mini FSD. I do think if you're looking purely at what it compares to, and it's arguably opposition in the same tier, it stacks up pretty well. So, I'm going to end things there. Say thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing this knife or learned something, or I don't know, maybe my video made your day a little bit brighter because I'm just such a happy person. I don't know. But if you have anything to say, leave it down in the comments. Like, subscribe, as I said. Share the videos if you would. Still trying to grow the channel. Leave any suggestions. Love to hear them. Love to see them. Love to have some more views, really. You know how it goes. Then again, even when you get a lot of views, I've noticed that doesn't ever seem to stop for people. They want more. So maybe that's the case. Maybe I'm just fine here. I don't know. Who knows, right? We'll see where it goes. I'm rambling. I'll end things here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See ya.